Okay, hello and welcome to the High Altitude Investing live stream. Today is the 20th of July. It's going to be a really good live stream today. Super excited. So let's let everybody know in the Discord, let everybody know on Twitter, and we're going to talk about some exciting stuff today with these exciting markets, because we do have some pretty dang exciting markets, if I do say so myself. Yeah, it's just been exciting in crypto. There's been a lot of reasons to be excited, a lot of reasons to be talking about Bitcoin and your favorite altcoins. A lot of reasons to be a crypto nerd lately. I mean, look at that recovery on Bitcoin. Talk about fun, right? That was a pretty sweet recovery that we got here on Bitcoin. So it's going to be a good day. Super excited about today's live stream. We should have some pretty exciting coins and topics. And yeah, it's going to be a good stream. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start off with talking about Bitcoin here and kind of what's happened with Bitcoin and what I think Bitcoin could do from here. So as you guys know, we did have a pullback on Bitcoin that took us all the way back down to about 53,000 per coin. So Bitcoin did do an ABC correction, just exactly like we were originally planning. With Bitcoin, we were watching for this type of an ABC correction to take place. And it did happen. It happened exactly as planned. So, yeah, let's compare it here to gold and show you what we were looking at with crypto. So we're watching for Bitcoin to follow this gold fractal. When Bitcoin was way up here, we were watching for Bitcoin to follow this gold fractal, for Bitcoin to pull back to around 50,000 per coin. And that's exactly what happened. Now, as we got a little bit closer to support here, I started buying Bitcoin up here. Then Bitcoin fell even lower. It came down to 50,000 per coin, which is the exact area that I was looking originally for Bitcoin to go to. It was 50,000 per coin. So it came down, it hit that target, that comparison target, comparing it to gold. It came down and it hit that target perfectly. So once Bitcoin hit 53,000 per coin, I was pretty confident that that was a good place, a good time to be buying Bitcoin. So I did go ahead and buy more Bitcoin down at this level. I bought more Bitcoin down here. I bought more altcoins. I bought basically everything that I could possibly think of. And we did recover all the way back up to 66,000 per coin right now. And I think we're just really just getting started here for Bitcoin. So yeah, let's talk about what's coming next. Over here on the right, we have gold. And over here on the left, we have Bitcoin. And the reason I want to show you guys this comparison is because of the fact that gold and Bitcoin, they trade very similar. So Bitcoin trades like a commodities market does. So basically, a commodities market trades with a certain type of personality, a certain type of patterns and psychology. Commodities markets being like gold, oil, silver, all of those things, they all trade with a certain type of psychology. There's kind of a personality to those coins, or to those markets. So the gold market, for example, does extended fifth waves. Gold does extended fifth waves, so in its Elliott wave cycles, when it does its fifth wave, it's extended. It's a very, very big fifth wave. It's bigger than the first wave and the third wave. So that's kind of a characteristic of gold. And silver and oil, by the way, all of those commodity markets do extended fifth waves. Now, Bitcoin also does extended fifth waves. So that's what I'm saying when I say Bitcoin trades like a commodities market. It does all of the same things. It has the same type of personality. It does the same types of things as commodities markets do. So it's actually super useful to compare Bitcoin to gold because Bitcoin moves like gold. Bitcoin has a tendency to trade like a commodities market. That's the way Bitcoin works. That's the way it trades. So over here on the right we have gold, and over here on the left we have Bitcoin. For me personally, I think Bitcoin is going to keep heading up towards these resistance levels right here. Just exactly like how gold did. Gold came right up to that resistance level. Now, as it pushes up towards that resistance level, it's probably going to pull back once it gets up there. I mean, that's a pretty big resistance area. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see it do something like what gold did, where it pulls back again. Bitcoin. But in the meantime, I think it could go up to 70,000 per coin before it pulls back. So I think Bitcoin could go all the way up to 70,000 here and then start to pull back down to maybe 63 or 62 and then go back up again and start to break out. Because here's the thing, here's what happened with gold. Gold actually broke out to new all-time highs and kept pushing higher and really took off. Gold started to take off right here. So that's kind of what I think Bitcoin will do too, but I think it will have to pull back once it gets up to local resistance. But in the meantime, I think we will push higher here up to 70,000 per coin. So that's my view on Bitcoin. I think we're going to push up to 70,000. I think we're probably going to pull back after we do that. Pull back to 62, 63. Then I suspect we push up again, back up through this all-time high resistance area up here, and then really start to take off, just like how gold did. So that's my view on Bitcoin. That's what I think Bitcoin is set up for. That's what I see in the charts. And yeah, so don't be too bearish right now. We could still push up quite a bit. We could push all the way up to 70,000 per coin. And don't be too bullish. You know, once we get up to 70,000, we could easily pull back. So don't be too bullish, because we could easily pull back to 63 before pushing higher again. That's the structure that I'm seeing on Bitcoin. So really, it's followed this gold fractal perfectly. Even though I started buying a little early here, started picking it up right here, and then bought even more down here. I bought even more down into this dip. It's really following this gold fractal perfectly. So it followed this original structure that I was looking at perfectly. So that's what I do think we're going to keep following this original structure on Bitcoin. And by original structure, I mean the structure or the charts where it looks like gold. My comparisons of it looking like gold. So yeah, cool. Bitcoin looks good. It's following the original gold fractal that we were looking at. I think we'll push up higher, pull back, and then break out again. By the way, welcome everybody. Good to see you guys tuning in. Thank you for taking a minute to tune in today. Can I do Theta? Yeah, I'd be happy to do Theta. And by the way, the crypto total market cap is the same as what I was just looking at here with Bitcoin. The total crypto market cap is also in the same structure. It looks exactly like gold. So it's really just following the same fractal of human emotion. So I think the total crypto market cap as well will push up towards this all-time high resistance area, potentially pull back a little bit, and then push up through it again and actually break up above. You can see how strong the reaction to this lower support level was. That's because it's following the gold fractal. It did an ABC correction. The gold fractal saw a very strong recovery after making a slightly lower low. That's exactly what gold did. It broke slightly below support, then saw a massive strong recovery and broke out up above even to a new all-time high. So that's what I think the total crypto market cap will do as well. But let's talk about Theta, because we've got people requesting this coin, and I want to talk about it anyways because I think it's going to do good. So Theta just completed a market cycle. Now, I'm not talking about a big picture market cycle, although it completed one of those as well. But I am talking about a market cycle here on the daily time frame. Here on the daily time frame, we do have a market cycle. You can see that we have the first sell-off right here. So the cycle starts, it sells off. That's the first sell-off. Then you get this euphoric run up here, new paradigm. You get a bull trap up here, and you go all the way back down to despair down here. So this is a complete market cycle on Theta here on the daily time frame. So what I think is going to happen here, you guys, is I think we're going to have a bullish recovery on Theta. This market cycle is going to start a new cycle. Now that we've had a single cycle, we can start another cycle. Or in other words, we have wave 1 and wave 2 done. Wave 1 and wave 2 are completed. See, if you look here, wave 1 and wave 2, and now we're getting ready for a new cycle, a new Elliott wave impulse, which is wave 3. So I think with Theta here, we're gonna break out for wave 3 and really start to move up here with a significant increase in value as we break out from wave 2 into wave 3. So we completed a full cycle here, and now we're breaking out into another cycle or another Elliott wave, and that wave 3 here could take us all the way up to $6 pretty easily here with Theta. And that's not even to mention wave 5, which often is extended in crypto. So wave 5 can actually be bigger than wave 3 or wave 1 a lot of times in crypto. But at least for sure we're going to get a big impulsive wave 3, and that wave 3 is going to be super, super profitable. It's going to be super duper profitable because it'll be bigger than wave 1, and wave 1 was pretty big here. I mean, it wasn't crazy big, but it was pretty big. So when wave 3 happens, it's going to be like wave 1 here. It's going to, you see how impulsive wave 1 got towards the top of it here? Wave 3 is also going to be impulsive. It's going to be very vertical and very profitable to trade Theta through that wave 3 in the market. So yeah, we do have a wave 1 and a wave 2 complete. And now I suspect that we'll have our wave 3 coming very shortly with Theta. So keep your eye on Theta. I really like this setup here with Elliott waves on Theta here. So let's see here. We got people messaging in here. XRP. People want BOTA. XRP, altcoin. Yeah, we can talk about those coins. So let's talk about XRP because we're getting a lot of requests for XRP. And by the way, XRP is one of those coins, you guys, that you can just make stupid amounts of money on if you play the bigger cycle. So what do I mean by that? Well, XRP is one of those coins that it accumulates for really, really long times. So if you look at the first cycle that happened on XRP, you can see that XRP went sideways for forever. Okay? Like this thing just went sideways for forever. It had its first pump right here. Then it dumps really hard. It has another pump. And then it dumps really hard again. Then it just goes sideways for forever. Like painfully long. Okay? Then it breaks out into its first cycle. You can see it actually breaks out into its first real market cycle after that accumulation pattern took place. And that market cycle was huge. You can see it just completely blew people away. It went really, really crazy here. All right, so that's what XRP does. XRP has these really long accumulation patterns. Then it breaks out and goes nuts, like completely nuts. And that's how XRP historically moves. Well, XRP right now is that same thing. It just did the same thing again as it did before. So up here on the top we have XRP in its very first cycle ever, and here on the bottom we have XRP today, right now. So you can see that historically it had a tendency to have a pump, a pullback, another pump, and a pullback, and then this sideways action. Well, that's exactly what XRP just did in the big picture, you guys. Like, wake up, stop being perma-bearish, stop being haters, right? Stop being noobs. Stop thinking that just because something hasn't pumped in a few years that it can't pump. All right? XRP can absolutely pump and go completely nuts and go crazy and see a big vertical move, just like it did last time. Why? Because these accumulation patterns work. These patterns play out, right? they work. So yeah. What else do I have to say? Right? This accumulation pattern is exactly what we look for. This is exactly what you want to see. And if you don't believe me, well, you just haven't been in crypto for long enough to see what happens when these patterns occur. You haven't been around the crypto markets for long enough to see these accumulation patterns. But once you have either trained yourself to go look for them, to go back in the historical data of these coins and go look and see what patterns led to the big breakout, well, then you start to see. That's what you got to do. You got to go back and you got to study these coins and find these patterns. Because once you find these patterns, you're going to realize, okay, well, crypto historically has a history of moving inside of big, long accumulation patterns that go sideways and chop around forever, and then break out into big vertical breakouts and really go nuts. Crypto has a history of doing that. That is literally what crypto does. And so don't get lost in the sauce. Don't let these charts trick you. This is what Litecoin did. Litecoin did the same thing. It had this huge pump. It pulled back. Then it had a pump in the middle here, a pullback, and then it moved sideways. And then it broke out bullish, right? So you're talking about significant multiple years of going sideways. Multiple years of going sideways without a single person caring. Nobody cared about Litecoin down here. Nobody cared, right? Everybody was worried about other stuff. And then look what happened. Look at that bullish breakout that occurred afterwards. Look how vertical that move was. Why? Because of the pattern of accumulation, right? They get added to these coins get added to exchanges, and they either pump really hard or they dump really hard, and then they most often move sideways. And when they're moving sideways and they're chopping around and they're making, low volatility movement, sometimes with a pretty big bump in the middle, but not usually too crazy. When they're going like this, when they're going sideways for a really long time, that's where they're building pressure and momentum, and they're being accumulated so that they can break out. So they can break out bullish and go crazy. So they can go nuts. Okay? And that's the pattern you have to train your eyes to see. Because it's everywhere. It doesn't matter what you're trading, it's everywhere. Look at Dogecoin here. This is the same thing I'm talking about. So Dogecoin drops off a cliff here and bounces around like this. Do you see this choppiness? It moved basically inside of a range, chopping around inside of a range like this, and then it bottoms out and goes nuts and breaks out and really moons here. And you can see that happened after that choppy sideways movement. So when people tell me, oh, well, XRP hasn't broke out in 5 years or whatever, I tell them, do you even understand anything about crypto? Do you understand cycles? Because that's what you want to see. You want to see these big accumulation patterns. That's what leads to the big breakout. That's what leads to so much profitable price action that comes afterwards. That's what leads to those big vertical moves, right? That comes because of accumulation, because these markets move sideways. If you want to buy something before it does this, right? If you want to buy something before it goes parabolic and starts increasing in value, then you want to buy during a bear market or at the bottom of one of those accumulation patterns, which most often at the bottom of a bear market, all of these coins are doing those types of accumulation patterns. They're all doing this at the bottom of bear markets. But if you can buy that and get ready for the move that comes after, this is what happens. Those big vertical breakouts, they occur as a result of accumulation patterns. And if you don't know, this is not something that only happens in crypto. This is something that's happening in every single let's see here, where is it? Every single market in the entire world. Trying to find a specific, here we are. And it really doesn't matter what you're trading. You're looking for the same things. Because, I mean, look at wheat. Okay, this is wheat. Like wheat that you put, like wheat that's in bread wheat, right? You can see that this accumulation pattern is something you also look for in in the stock market or the world markets in this case, because this is commodities. You can see here that wheat did the same thing, right? Wheat is going sideways inside of this bouncy kind of action like this. Why? Because this is a big accumulation pattern on wheat. This is getting ready to do what Dogecoin did, right? Where it broke out. In other words, the cost of cereal, the cost of bread, it over the next, who knows exactly how long, wherever this thing bottoms out, it's going to bottom out and it's going to start to do like what Dogecoin did and break out into a big bull market here on wheat. And that bull market will be a result of that accumulation pattern that you see here in the big time frame. So it doesn't matter what you're trading. What really matters is whether you know how to trade it. Okay? Because XRP is a great example of one of these accumulation patterns that I'm talking about. That's so profitable to play. That's exactly what XRP did here, is a big accumulation pattern. And if it does anything like what it did last time, it's going to go nuts. So, Tfuel. Yes, I can give you Tfuel analysis, my friend. So, basically, here with Tfuel, we have very, very clearly, you can see you have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. So we have our 5 waves up here in the shorter time frame. Then we have our A, B, and our C wave down. So there's a complete cycle here on Tfuel. So I suspect that we will break bullish out of this. We've got a bit of a triangle / wedge here. You can see we're wedging. We're in a wedge structure. So we'll probably break bullish out of this wedge. We already started to, you can see here a little bit. And if we do, then we're probably going to push right up towards the top of wave 3 here, and then the top of wave 5. So it'll look something like this. Something like that. And then once we get up closer to local resistance, we'll probably pull back just a little bit here, right? That's very common. And what I would suspect here to have happened, what's kind of the structure that's set up here in the bigger picture here with Tfuel, is actually a big picture wave 3. So we have wave 1, wave 2, and now we're getting ready for wave 3. So that's why I say we'll probably pull back a little bit at the top of the wave 1 resistance, but then I'm bullish, and I think we'll push up through in for wave 3. So we'll probably do something like this. Strong recovery after we pull back at resistance. So now big picture targets, because we're talking about the short term here on the daily, what's going to happen over the next, few months or whatever on the daily time frame here. So we're not going to talk about targets here on the daily, because really what we're focused on this channel is the big picture. So that's what I suspect in the short term, is that we're going to do this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, more than likely, this fifth wave will actually be extended. So let's talk about where the Elliott waves can go here on Tfuel. So here in the big picture, what's actually happened is basically, so if you don't know what happened during the internet bubble, this is what happened on Tfuel just now. So during the internet bubble in the early 90s, things got too crazy. People got too excited about the internet. They bought it. They bought all these internet stocks. These internet stocks went crazy. They went really high in value. Then they pulled back really hard afterwards, right? Now, the reason why I didn't show you a target on the short term with Tfuel is because what I'd actually be targeting is a bigger picture move. I'd be targeting a bigger picture move with Tfuel. Now, for me, I'm a Theta guy. I don't have any Tfuel, not because I have anything against it, but just because I just don't own any yet. Maybe I need to pick some up, right? But I am bullish on Theta because I've been bullish on it for a minute and it looks really good. But basically what happened to Tfuel here, and I'm going to show you these two charts so you get a better idea. Amazon.com here on the bottom and Tfuel is up here on the top. Now you can see this is Amazon.com during the internet bubble, okay? During the internet bubble, Amazon went crazy and then it pulled back super hard. It popped and pulled back really hard in 2002, 2001, this area right here. That's exactly what Tfuel did right here. So Tfuel actually did a repeat of the same psychology that happened during the internet bubble. In other words, Tfuel is stupid undervalued, like stupid undervalued. Because it's just exactly like, imagine buying Amazon.com right here in like 2003, or maybe I guess in 2008 down here. Imagine buying Amazon.com down here in this area right here before Amazon.com recovered and broke out and started its bull market. Before Amazon.com went into a full-blown cycle. Okay, and I'm not just telling you this to try to please your ears. I'm literally telling you this because this is what I see in the charts. Tfuel is set up to do the same thing that Amazon did, which is break out into a big bull market. Now, my one-on-one coaching members, the guys that I've been coaching one-on-one, they all know that, or at least, and if you haven't got this lesson yet, you will, that there's actually a way to find your targets so that when these new cycles start, where it does like what Amazon did here on the bottom and breaks out into a new cycle, when these new cycles start, there's actually a way to find your targets, to figure out where the market's going to go. And we won't get into that too much today, but I will just quickly do it here. And I can tell you that Theta Fuel, Tfuel, has a minimum target of going to the 1618. Because that's when you break out into a new cycle, the 1618 level right here is your minimum target for wave 3. So wave 3 has to at least go to the 1618 level. You can see here on Amazon, if I draw wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 went way higher than the 1618 on Amazon. So that's the minimum target. But with Tfuel, you can see wave 1, wave 2. Now we're expecting a big picture wave 3, and the minimum target for that is the 1618, which is $1. Now, however, we can actually find more targets based on that level, even higher targets, because you can see Amazon didn't stop right there. It kept going higher. And those higher targets are actually the ones that we target. In the case of Tfuel, the first big picture target we'd want is the 7618, which is $5. So that's how we do that. There's actually a method to the madness. You can go back and you can find, you can go back and you can find these charts and you can measure the cycle, the Elliott wave cycle, the market cycle, and you can actually find targets way before the price even gets there, way before price ever even gets anywhere near that target. You can find that target. So yeah, I think for sure it's going to go to $1. And the 7618 could take it to $5, $6 before all of this is over. Now I'm talking about the big picture bull market, right? We're talking about crypto right now is headed into mass adoption. Crypto is headed into the same phase that the internet headed into after 2003. So here's the truth. In the early 90s and the early 2000s, the internet had a very exciting expansion phase. People call it a bubble. The truth is it was just a market cycle because it recovered. But after 2003, that's when the internet started getting mass adopted. The early 90s was just for fun. The early 90s was just, oh, here's new technology. It's fun to play with. Let's get excited about it. That's what the early 90s were. But after the internet bubble popped in the early 2000s down here, when it was undervalued, that's when the internet got mass adopted, was after that. After the internet bubble popped and came all the way back down and started recovering, in that phase when it started to recover is when the internet became mass adopted. That's when the internet became a household name. Everybody knows this, right? Because from the early 2000s until now is when we went from dial-up internet until now we have Google Fiber that does terabytes of data per second. All right? So everybody knows this. This is just true. The internet became mass adopted after the bubble popped. After it popped and recovered. That recovery phase is when the internet became mass adopted. So, with crypto, we're in the same place right now. Crypto right now is just exactly like the internet bubble popping and starting to recover after that pop. That recovery phase is going to be the mass adoption phase. That is why Tfuel can go up to like $5 per coin, because we're headed into the mass adoption phase with crypto. And that mass adoption phase could last until 2030. Price could go up until 2030 because of this mass adoption phase. So because of how big the amount of growth that's coming, you have to know how to find targets. You have to know how these Elliott waves play out, how these market cycles play out. If you understand that, then you can go ahead and you can measure from the bottom of wave 0 to the top of wave 1 to the bottom of wave 2, and you can start finding your targets. You can find your targets, right? You can see how perfectly Amazon expanded out to those targets. It went up to those targets perfectly. So those Fibonacci ratios you can find based on Elliott wave theory, and you can find it really early on, and you can basically position yourself for that big move, which this channel is focused on the bigger moves. We will trade, like we do trade, like for example, when Bitcoin pulled back from 70,000 down to 53, I went short and I made a lot of money along the way down, shorting Pepe and some other coins as well. So we do play like multi-week setups, but we're really focused on this channel. We're focused on the big picture. Why? Because the big picture is where you get these types of moves, where something like Tfuel goes from being worth 7 cents to $5. That's what happens in the big picture. And those types of moves only happen in the big picture. So that's what we're focused on, because that's what's profitable and that's what's easy to spot in the charts. That's what you can see as clear as day, right? That's what you can see consistently with a high probability, so you're not gambling, but instead you're actually playing this market like how Wall Street does, with real probabilities and real setups. You're not just throwing money in the dark and hoping that it plays out. And that only happens, or at least that happens best in the big picture, where you can actually do this without gambling. But we do trade the smaller time frame, just not in and out in a single day, more like we get in and then we take profit like a couple weeks later or a few weeks later. We do trade those swings, but the main focus is the bigger picture here, because that's where you make all your money. I mean, think about buying Amazon here in 2003, right? The amount of expansion that came afterwards, just consistent expansion and growth, that made anybody rich. Anybody that bought Amazon down here, they got rich holding on. That's exactly what crypto is set up to do. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good idea of what I think for Tfuel, my friend. So, okay. Let's do Velo. We're getting requests to do Velo. By the way, thank you guys for tuning in today. I appreciate you tuning in to today's little stream. Hopefully you're learning some stuff, and yeah, so I appreciate it. So here with Velo, we have a really big retracement here. I mean, look at that. Talk about a retracement, right? But this happens in crypto. This is the kind of stuff that if you're going to be a crypto investor, you got to know this kind of stuff, right? Because you don't want to be 100% in on something that drops 99% in value. that sucks. If all of your money is in on a coin like Velo before it does this, right? But you have to understand this is the way crypto moves. This is the nature of crypto. So that's why I say, hey, you guys, you got to know how to play this stuff. You got to know how to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. So yeah, let's talk about Velo and kind of what I think could happen here with Velo. So let's turn it on the log chart here. So you can see that we had a really, really big retracement. Velo gets added to the exchange. It pumps really hard. It pumps all the way up to $2 basically. And then it starts this big, huge retracement all the way down to 0.001 cents. So that's a pretty brutal move, right? This is what I'm saying. You don't want to be 100% in on some random coin if this is going to happen. Now, mind you, 2021 and 2022, we were pretty overvalued in the crypto markets. A time like right now, where we are pretty undervalued, it's going to be a lot less likely that you buy something and then it's going to drop 99% in value. Now, when crypto is going crazy and when Bitcoin is going nuts and we're really overvalued again, then you want to be more careful because you could buy something and this could happen where it drops 99%. But you can see we drop off a cliff here. After it gets added to the exchanges, it drops off really hard. But then we get this huge Adam and Eve double bottom. Okay, this is a really, really profitable pattern. If you don't know, an Adam and Eve, first of all, the double bottom pattern is one of the highest probability patterns. So let's see, what if, not that company, no. Adam and Eve double bottom, where are we? The stuff that popped up on my Google when I typed in Adam and Eve. You got to be careful Googling Adam and Eve, apparently, you guys. So, an Adam and Eve double bottom. Basically, this is an Adam and Eve double bottom is where the left side of the double bottom pattern is very triangular and the right side is very rounded. Basically, that's what happened here on Velo, is an Adam and Eve double bottom pattern. Now, that double bottom pattern is very, very profitable. It's a high probability pattern. It plays out like 80% of the time, 70 or 80% of the time. Now, what we did here is we broke bullish out of this pattern. So this is called the neckline right here. And we broke bullish out of that neckline. You can see we broke up bullish. And we came back down to the neckline to test it as support. So this is really, really common for these double bottom patterns, for you to break out of the confirmation line or the neckline, and then for you to come back down and test that neckline one more time before you go higher. So you can see that's what we did here. We break out of the double bottom and we come back down and we test the neckline. So now what's very likely to happen here is we're going to push up higher here with Velo as a result of this Adam and Eve double bottom pattern. So this is a really, really profitable pattern, high probability, very, very common reversal pattern. And you can see here that we have a bunch of volume, like a lot of volume down here, which is another really good sign. It's good to see after a big crash like this, a big retracement in value, for us to have a bunch of volume at the bottom of that retracement in correlation or in connection to this double bottom pattern. So that's really bullish here with Velo. I think we will break out again. We'll push up through this local resistance here at about 2 cents. And I think we're going to push up higher here and head up towards the target of this double bottom pattern here with Velo. So yeah, Love that setup, by the way. That's a really, really good looking setup here with Velo. I think we're going to break out and see more upside. Let's see. Yeah, let's do BCH, because BCH is a great example. Earlier in this stream, if you came in late, you might not have seen this. But earlier in this stream, I was talking about accumulation patterns, and this is a great example of one of those accumulation patterns, because people don't understand how crypto moves. They haven't seen it before. They don't know how crypto moves. And because of that, they automatically look at a chart and they say, oh, look how hard that thing crashed. That is never going to recover again, right? Wrong. You have to understand how these markets work, how these accumulation patterns play out, because really Bitcoin Cash is set up for a big move, a big bullish move. And I'll talk about why that is here. So Bitcoin Cash actually looks a heck of a lot like Litecoin, funny enough, but we're talking about Litecoin way back in the day, before Litecoin had its first cycle, before Litecoin pumped and went into a bull market. So over here, so up here on the top, we have Bitcoin Cash, and down here on the bottom, we have Litecoin. Now tell me that that isn't a spitting image of the same human psychology on both of these charts. That's exactly what it is. It's human psychology. And earlier in the stream, I was talking about accumulation patterns. Well, when you get one of these accumulation patterns, what happens is the market, a lot of times, it pulls back and then it goes sideways. And sometimes it'll have a bit of a pump in the middle, but it goes sideways and bounces around, okay? All of that period right here where it's doing that, it's being accumulated by big whales, like big players that are in it for the long term, that want to play those bigger swings that we're talking about in these videos and on this channel. Those bigger whales are buying all through that whole period. That's exactly what they did with Litecoin before Litecoin had its first cycle. And by the way, Bitcoin Cash had a little cycle in 2017, but it hasn't really had its first big market cycle yet. And when it does, I think it's going to be like Litecoin here in 2017, where it breaks out and sees a big impulsive move and really goes nuts here in the big picture and really breaks above the big picture all-time high, which is right here, which was right here on Litecoin, but it's right here on Bitcoin Cash, and takes off. And yeah, of course, a bear market will come once it's overvalued, just like it did with Litecoin. You can see once it got overvalued, it crashed really hard. But I personally think Bitcoin Cash is ready for a big bull market. It's the same human psychology, and human psychology never changes. That is why it's so profitable to understand that humans, we do the same things over and over again. Look at history. We do the same things over and over again. So these charts are fractal, the psychology repeats, and it's self-consistent. In other words, you can find the same patterns, the same psychology across all markets in the whole world. It's self-consistent. You're going to be able to find accumulation patterns and fractals that look the same in every single market in the entire world, because humans are the same. Human psychology is self-consistent. So yeah, I really like this setup here with Bitcoin Cash. I think we'll break out into a big bull market. I think it's going to be its first big cycle. And because of that, people are going to be really blown away. They're going to be astonished at what happens to the prices of Bitcoin Cash. and they're going to make a ton of money if they're buying it early on. So that's my view on Bitcoin Cash. Okay, let's see here. Hey buddy, could you look at Gary Network once for me today? Yes, we can. I'd be happy to. And Gary, is it Gary Token or Gary Network? Gary Network, I guess it's the same thing, huh? Looks like the same thing. Okay, so I've never, ever, ever heard of this before. I've never seen this before. I don't know anything about this. There isn't a lot of chart data either. Obviously, we have this big death kind of situation that happened right here, where we had a big crash. There might have been some fundamental thing that happened. Like, that looks kind of like a crash that happened because of an update or because of some change to the code, or maybe a developer dumped or something. That looks like a pretty gnarly crash right here that happened in 2022 with Gary Network. I don't really know anything about this coin, don't know what it does. There is a little bit of volume, and it is pretty undervalued in the sense that, you know, it's pretty down from its peak. So it's pretty undervalued in that sense. It's also going sideways right now. You can see it's going sideways, kind of accumulating. It could easily bottom out right here. It could easily start to bottom out, do some bottoming structure, and turn around here. Especially all this sideways action leads me to believe that the selling momentum is the pressure from sellers is very low. There probably isn't a lot of sellers here anymore. And so once the sellers die off, that's what makes these accumulation patterns. Is the body of sellers gets so small that there's almost no sellers left and there's only buyers. So what happens is it goes sideways until all the sellers are gone and all the buyers are just keep buying, and that's what leads into a big breakout. So when you run out of sellers, that's what causes these markets to go sideways, because the sellers can't drive the price any lower. There isn't enough people selling to drive it lower. So it goes sideways. So it could break out here, it could turn around. That would be my view on Gary. But it wouldn't be the first one I just go buy. It doesn't like look like, oh man, this is so amazing looking, right? It could turn around and bottom out and start to go up here, but it's not like I'd go just throw money at this thing. I don't know anything about it though, so there might be a fundamental reason to throw money at it, but it's not like the chart's telling me to. Okay, Nigel, you want me to do Kendu Inu on Ethereum. So Kendu Inu versus Ethereum? I think that's what you're saying. Let's check this thing out. Kendu Inu. By the way, if you don't have any Solana meme coins at all, now is the time to be buying meme coins, okay? Meme coins. I'm telling you. In raging bull markets, yes, buy those coins that have utility. Buy those coins you really believe in, because they're going to do good too. But in a raging bull market, meme coins are so profitable. It's just ridiculous how profitable. Even if you're shorting them, right? With Pepe, when crashes come in the market, you can short Pepe. So even if you're shorting meme coins, it's so profitable to trade these things. It's just ridiculous. I'm seeing people every day turn $100 into like 100,000 all the time because of meme coins. So these meme coins Especially like on Twitter, you'll see people turn like, oh, last week I only had $1,000 to my name. And they've got like $5 million in their portfolio. Why? Because they're buying meme coins. Now, I'm not the type of guy that's going to tell you to go put 100% of your portfolio in these things, because that's just stupid. But if you have 5 to 10% of your portfolio that you don't care about, that 5 to 10% could make you millions of dollars. It's worth putting them in to these meme coins. It really is. So yeah. Kendu Inu. Let's talk about Kendu Inu. By the way, thank you guys for the donations. I really appreciate that. Thank you for being kind enough to donate in these streams. And yeah, I'm happy to do these requests for you as well. So Kendu Inu. Is this the right chart? This looks like the right chart. I think this is, yeah. So this is Kendu Inu versus Ethereum. And it's actually a very, very similar setup as the Bitcoin chart. Basically, what we have here is we have a big 1 and a 2 wave. So what's happened here from an Elliott wave perspective is a big 1 and a 2 wave. What I see happening here is we have ascending support. So we have an ascending support level right here. And we have a bit of an ascending triangle pattern. So if we break up through this resistance level over the next couple weeks with any degree of confidence, like we did with Bitcoin, like we've done with XRP, like we've been doing with a lot of coins right now, because there's a lot of strength in the market, then I suspect we're going to have a pretty strong move up towards this resistance level right here again. So I think we're going to head up towards 0.0002 per Kendu Inu versus Ethereum. So that's the area that I'd be watching for. And the reason is because this ascending triangle has a target, and that minimum target is that level. So the minimum target for the ascending triangle is basically that exact level. So that level again is 0.00022 Kendu Inu versus Ethereum. So that'd be on the short term, right? This ascending triangle that looks pretty bullish. The markets are strong right now, so it's a pretty high likelihood that it plays out. The other thing, we do have a bull flag. So if you don't know about what happened on Pepe, by the way, we were trading a bull flag on Pepe before Pepe broke out, and man, those bull flags are profitable. They're so much fun to play, so much fun to trade. If you look here on Pepe, this bull flag right here, and we'll just actually redo this so that it looks nice and clean, just to show you kind of what happens with these bull flags. So here's Pepe right here, and here's Kendu Inu. So that's the same bull flag actually on Kendu Inu right now that we saw on Pepe previously, historically. So I do think we will get a breakout on Kendu Inu, and I think we're going to break out of that ascending triangle and push up higher in the short term, but in the bigger picture, I think we're going to play out this bull flag, and I think we're going to see a big, strong vertical breakout, just like what happened on Pepe. Now, once it starts to break out of resistance, it'll probably get overvalued and have to come back down to reality again. But for now, just keep focused on this big picture resistance level, on this bull flag pattern right here. And I think when we break out of that bull flag, you're going to have quite a bit of upside you can see here before we pull back again. Because you can see that's what happened with Pepe. We had quite a bit of upside before we pulled back. But it did eventually pull back, you can see, which was super fun to short. Man, that was so much fun to short that, by the way, on Pepe. So that's my views on Kendu Inu. Big picture, we have a bull flag. Big picture, we're set up to break out just like how Pepe did. as a result of that bull flag pattern on Pepe. You can see the similarities. The charts are very similar in psychology. So, Leo Lee, will I do Shiba analysis? Yeah, I'll do Shiba analysis for you. Thanks for that donation. So yeah, let's talk about Shiba. So I've been actually looking at Shiba for a minute now, and what I've been watching here with Shiba is pretty similar to what happened to Bitcoin back in 2015. In fact, it's the same thing. It's the same psychology. It's the same setup. It's the same everything about it. So let's talk about that a little bit here. So Bitcoin down here on the bottom, we're going to add Bitcoin. And then on the top, we've got Shiba Inu. And what I want to show you here is the human emotion, the human psychology. So, so down here on the bottom, we have Bitcoin. And up here on the top, we have Shiba Inu. Now, basically what happened to Bitcoin in 2014 and 2013, we had this big kind of bubble where it got really overvalued and had to come back down to earth. And when it came back down to earth, it came all the way back down to $200 per Bitcoin. So it went from being worth, basically it went from being worth around $15 or $3, just a few dollars down here, all the way up to $1,100, and then all the way back down to $200 per Bitcoin. Now, what happened with Shiba Inu is the same psychology. It's the same human emotion. And this coin I get requested for a lot. So there's a really big community behind this coin. There's a lot of people that support this coin. A lot of people really excited about Shiba. And the psychology, for me, reminds me of Bitcoin back in 2015. So you can see Shiba Inu also had this overvalued kind of bubble phase where it gets overvalued. It went all the way up here to, I'm not going to try to name how many zeros, like 0.0000007 or something. It went all the way up here. It went really overvalued. And then it came back down. It had this ABC correction here, this pretty brutal ABC correction, all the way back down. Huge retracement in value, just like how Bitcoin did. Very, very fearful. A lot of people would have been panic selling. A lot of people would have been scared down here, really thinking that Bitcoin isn't ever going to recover down here at $200, right? But look what Bitcoin did. And again, with Shiba Inu, same thing. People would be thinking Shiba Inu is never going to recover down here at 0.0000004 cents per Shiba Inu, right? People wouldn't have been expecting a recovery, but we did. We broke out again. We started to recover. We pulled back down a little bit. It's doing the same thing that Bitcoin did as Bitcoin started to break out into its bull market and start to build momentum and start to see a bigger picture reversal. It's the same structure. And actually, my video that I made about Velo a couple days ago was talking about this same thing, how markets stair-step. They have a stair-stepping kind of structure when they break out and start new cycles. They almost look like a stairway. And that's exactly like what's happened here on Bitcoin back in 2015, 2016, 2017. You can see the stairway kind of action here as it built momentum up and broke its all-time high. Well, I think the same thing is set up here with Shiba Inu. We've got this first stair step, and I think we're going to break out again for another stair step and keep reversing here in the big picture. Now, is it going to go up forever? No. Bitcoin didn't. Bitcoin broke out really high, but then it had another bear market too. In the future, way out ahead in the future, it did have another bear market. So no, Shiba Inu is not going to go up forever. but I do think we will have another bull market, just like how Bitcoin did. And I think that bull market's going to be pretty dang profitable, and it can absolutely break above the old all-time high when it goes into that bull market here with Shiba Inu. But it will have another bear market. But the name of the game, you guys, the name of the game is to buy the bottom of wave 2, or to buy the bottom of these bear markets. If you can buy the bottom of these bear markets down here in preparation for the new cycle, you can make so much money in the new cycle when it's breaking out and when it's doing a new cycle and really going crazy, that you really, like, if you can buy the dip down here, that's the most profitable trading strategy on the entire face of the earth, of planet Earth, is to buy the dip in the big picture in preparation for these big expansions, these big breakouts that occur, where they break out into a new cycle. And let me show you, that's exactly what we've been doing on Bitcoin since day one. When Bitcoin came down here, this is what I'm talking about. This is what a market cycle looks like. You break out, you pull back here, and then you break out again. And if you can buy the dip, if you can buy the dip in the bottom of wave 2 right here, then you can make a stupid amount of money, right? You can make a stupid amount of money when the new cycle breaks out, and when you go nuts, and when you go parabolic, and when you go vertical, you can make a stupid amount of money. And look what happened here with Bitcoin. Same thing again, right? If you can buy the bottom of wave 2 right here, that's how we knew Bitcoin was going to bottom in 2018, was because it landed onto the 786 level, and because it was doing another market cycle, just like it happened in 2015. And look what happened again. Boom, big breakout, big vertical breakout, right? So if you can buy the bottom of wave 2 right here, if you can buy that dip right there, you can make a ton of money. And let me tell you, a lot of coins are in the bottom of wave 2 right now. A lot of coins are right here, right now, as we speak. That is the exact point in their cycle where they are at. So let's see here. Let's remove all the drawing tools here, just to show just one example, and then we're going to call it probably a day unless somebody else has requested something for me to run over. But I just want to show you what I'm talking about here. This is what you want to do. Okay, here's Bitcoin on the top and here's Dogecoin on the bottom. This is what I mean by buying the bottom of wave 2. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to buy the bottom of these cycles in preparation for their big picture reversals, because that's where you make all the money. That's where you make tons of money, is doing that. So yeah. Let's see here. So yeah, I'm bullish on Shiba Inu, basically. It reminds me a lot of Bitcoin back in 2015, before Bitcoin broke out into a new bull market. And no, Bitcoin didn't go up forever. Of course, it had a bull market again, a bear market again at some point, but it had a bull market before it had a bear market. And I think a lot of coins are getting ready for that bull market. Even Kendu Inu is in wave 1 and wave 2, right? That's what I'm talking about. You want to buy the bottom of wave 2. That was a coin that I was just requested to run over for analysis. Can you do Mira analysis? Yes, I will be happy to do Mira analysis, and then we'll probably call it a day. But yeah, I'm happy to do some analysis on Mira here today. Alrighty, So this is another great time for me to show you guys fractals. I love fractals. I hope you do too, because you can make a lot of money with fractals. So here is Mira on the daily time frame on KuCoin. And what I want to show you here is this market cycle. So we have a full, complete market cycle. And a lot of people would look at this and they'd say, oh, well, you know, that looks like it went down in value. That looks like, how do you know that's going to go up? You know, what makes you think that that is going to go up in value? And for those types of people, I would just say this. I would just say, you guys, you don't know nothing. You should learn this stuff, because if you actually learn this stuff, instead of just assuming that you know what's going to happen, then you'd probably be bullish right now instead of bearish. Okay, here is Amazon.com. Amazon.com. All right, here on the right, and here is Mira on the left. Now tell me that crypto did not just do the exact same thing that happened to the internet bubble in the early 90s. That's exactly what just happened to crypto. The entire crypto markets just did this. A little bubble, right? Well, what happened after the internet bubble popped? Well, it recovered. Most people don't know this because they hear the word bubble and they think that means you should just sell everything and never buy again. But look what happened to the internet bubble after it recovered. Well, after it popped, it recovered. And you can see that when it recovered, it started a new cycle and went nuts. A lot of cryptos are right here in that same point of their psychology. And by the way, after 2003, when we broke out again in the world markets, that's when the internet got mass adopted. So after 2003 happened, the internet got mass adopted. When the internet recovered after the internet bubble pop is when it became a household name. That's when it became mass adopted, was after that pop happened. Well, I think that's what's getting ready for crypto. I think we're headed into that mass adoption phase where we're going to start breaking out and really increase in value for quite some time, for who knows how long, but it could be 5 years, I mean. 5 years. It could be 2030. It could be 6 years. It could be 2030 before this thing is done rising. But I do think we're going to expand again and head into that mass adoption phase, and crypto is going to go crazy and have a big bull market, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Just like how when the internet got mass adopted. Man, how fun it was to be holding, like, for example, if you were holding an internet stock when it recovered. I mean, look at that. Look at the recovery that happened afterwards. The bull market that came after when the internet became mass adopted and a lot of these internet stocks became a real thing, like a real household name that people are using every day. Look how fun that was. Talk about a bull market, right? That's the kind of thing that can come in crypto. A massive, massive bull market. And no, I'm not just telling you this to try to please your ears. I'm dead serious. This is really, truly what is set up in these charts and what's set up in the markets. We're set up for just a massive breakout in the big picture, and it's going to be super profitable. So, yeah. I know sometimes I sound like a preacher, and sometimes I sound like a politician, where sometimes I'm telling you guys what you don't want to hear, and other times I'm telling you what you do want to hear. But I'm here to tell you that I really truly believe And I'm not just telling you this because I want you to hear it or because it's pleasing to your ear, but I really truly believe that Mira and a whole lot of other cryptos are getting ready for a big picture bull market. Mass adoption. It's going to be super fun and super profitable if you have the vision to see it early on, like right now, and get in early before crypto becomes a household name, which is what's getting ready to happen. So yeah, that's my view on Mira. All right, you guys, I know Hector, good to see you, bro. Carrie, do you still have faith in Telcoin? Yes, I do. Super bullish on Telcoin. We're not going to keep doing analysis. I'm already 20 minutes over for my stream length today, but I am bullish on Telcoin. Learn from Somi. I actually do have Somi or Somi. I don't know how to pronounce it. I do have Somi, Arthur. I have some of that meme coin. And by the way, meme coins are good right now. We just don't want to put too much. Don't want to go 100% in on a meme coin. But yeah, you can take 5-10% of your portfolio and distribute it across meme coins. You can make a lot of money doing that if you do that. So, but yeah. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. It's a really good stream today. We learned a lot. I'm bullish on the markets. I'm bullish on a lot of different coins. Mass adoption phase is set up in the charts. I think that's what we're headed into. I think we're going to make a lot of money, you guys. It's going to be really, really profitable and really fun. And I'm really excited. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate every single one of you. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos and future live streams. And as always, stay profitable out there. Keep buying cryptos, you guys. Keep going. You're on the right path.